Like, man, I'm done with that. I took you to the end.
Yeah.
I took you to 29 years old.
Yeah.
Because that's when Forest Hill Drive dropped.
Okay.
So I took you.
Something is happening in hip-hop this year that most people haven't fully noticed yet. In just about 2 months, major artists have dropped albums that fans have been waiting years, sometimes 5, 8, or even a decade to finally hear. It all started on January 16th, when A$AP Rocky finally delivered his long-awaited project after nearly 10 years of anticipation. Don't Be Dumb marked his official return, and it didn't disappoint. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, instantly cementing its impact and proving that Rocky still has the power to dominate the charts. Then, barely 3 weeks later, on February 6th, J. Cole released The Fall Off, a massive 2-disc project that many are already calling one of his best works to date. After years of build-up and anticipation, Cole's album not only satisfied fans' expectations, but also reminded the world why he remains one of the most respected voices in hip-hop. Just 2 weeks after that, on February 20th, Baby Keem broke the internet with a surprise release, Casino. This project came after complete silence from Keem since 2021 and featured appearances from none other than Kendrick Lamar, bringing even more hype and attention to the album. Fans were stunned, not just by the music, but by the fact that Keem dropped a fully polished, high-profile project with virtually no warning. What's wild about this sequence is how these releases came so close together, creating a concentrated wave of major albums. Fans who have waited years for these artists suddenly got 3 highly anticipated projects in just 2 months. This isn't just a coincidence, it signals a powerful shift in hip-hop. Artists who once took years to perfect their craft are now strategically dropping albums in a way that dominates cultural attention, leaving the rest of the industry scrambling to catch up. If you're paying attention, this is more than just music, it's a statement. The era of surprise drops, strategic releases, and carefully timed rollouts is reshaping the way fans experience music. And with Rocky, Cole, and Keem leading the charge, it's clear that 2026 could be one of the most—
Is finally here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Baby Keem.
Right here, right now. It's time for Baby Keem, Casino.
On top of
all that, we're also hearing that other major artists, including Drake, Kanye West, and Kendrick Lamar, are set to drop projects later this year. But that begs the question, why now? Why is there suddenly this flood of releases from hip-hop's biggest names? If you look past the music itself, a much bigger story is unfolding, one that explains why so many albums are dropping at nearly the same time. This situation can actually be divided into 2 parts. First, we have the veterans, the established OGs of the game, who appear to be moving toward a deliberate finish line. These are the artists who have built empires, released classic albums, and now seem to be making strategic moves to reclaim control of their careers. For years, record deals have been notorious for trapping artists, restricting creative freedom, and controlling masters. But now, many of the biggest names in hip-hop are finally completing their album obligations with major labels. This allows them to exit as free agents, innovate new contract models, and gain total independence. It's not just about getting their masters back, it's about freedom, ownership, and power. J. Cole is the perfect example. By releasing The Fall Off as a massive double album, he is effectively closing his chapter with his label, Dreamville/Universal. He has been vocal about this being his final album as an active artist under that contract. While he may continue to make music as a producer, this release marks the culmination of his discography under a traditional deal, clearing the path for full creative and financial independence. This wave of veteran releases isn't random, it's a coordinated exit strategy. Artists are timing their projects, completing obligations, and reclaiming control, all while setting the stage for a new era in the industry where ownership and creative—
Like, man, I'm done with that. I took you to the end.
Yeah.
I took you to 29 years old.
Yeah.
Because that's when Forest Hill dropped.
Okay.
So I took you back to 29.
Yeah.
Then I gave you the life update at 39.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing else to say as
J. Cole.
Jermaine B. or J. Cole. I don't care to continue.
Some of the most iconic artists of the 2000s and 2010s are signaling a major shift in the music industry, and you can see it in how they're handling their releases this year. Take J. Cole, A$AP Rocky, The Weeknd, and even Drake. They're all dropping long-awaited projects or final contractual obligations, and it's not just about music. It's about strategic exits, reclaiming independence, and solidifying legacies. Rocky, for example, has been seen doing trunk sale runs, literally selling CDs out of his old Honda Civic. That's more than a promotional stunt. It's a signal that he's returning to his independent roots. Once this rollout is complete, he won't owe the label another album, another single, another moment. He can finally move forward as a fully independent artist who owns his legacy. Last year, Abel Tesfaye, The Weeknd, did something similar. On January 31st, he released Hurry Up Tomorrow, the final chapter of his iconic trilogy. But the real masterstroke happened behind the scenes. He signed a billion-dollar deal to sell his catalog. By cashing out and leaving the Weeknd persona behind, Abel closed one chapter entirely and opened another as Abel Tess, free to exercise 100% creative and financial control. Rocky is also a part of this 2026 shift. After an 8-year gap, his release of Don't Be Dumb clears the final delivery requirement from his 2018 contract. For years, record contracts can pause if an album isn't delivered, which explains why Rocky was stuck. This album feels like the last box to check before he can fully step into total agency and independence. Even Drake's rumored project, Iceman, fits this theory. Leaked documents from his legal battles with Universal Music Group indicate his contract is up for renegotiation in 2026. Drake has spent 15 years building his empire under this system, and Iceman is reportedly the final project to fulfill his obligations. His recent lyrics hint at frustration, emphasizing that after 15 years of giving the industry his life and soul, he wants out. It seems the legends of the 2000s have simultaneously realized they no longer need the traditional music industry. They're releasing these long-awaited albums to clear their schedules, complete contracts, and reclaim freedom. While fans see a musical renaissance, the artists see a coordinated exit strategy, the old guard stepping aside for the next generation. And that brings us to the younger generation, who are sprinting toward a completely different goal, claiming the power vacuum the OGs are leaving behind. Take Baby Keem, for instance. After 5 years of silence, he dropped Casino, a carefully calculated statement of intent. Featuring Kendrick Lamar, the 12-track album shows a level of artistic maturity that positions Keem not as a protege or experimental cousin, but as a standalone heavyweight. Coupled with a 36-date North American tour kicking off in April, Keem is clearly staking his claim in the space Kendrick and Drake once occupied. Then there's Don Toliver, who released his 5th studio album, Octane, on January 30th. Not only did it give him his first Billboard 200 #1, but he's been aggressively expanding his presence, including contributing to the Scream 7 soundtrack. By constantly releasing music and staying omnipresent on social media, Don is positioning his sound as the new standard for superstars as the older generation recedes. And Yeat, arguably the most chaotic and viral rollout of the year, is orchestrating a dangerous high-stakes campaign with his upcoming album, A Dangerous Life. Using Sopranos-style taxi promos in New York, he's creating a sense of mystery and street-level intrigue the genre hasn't seen in years. With a 22-track album planned to bridge underground grit and mainstream appeal, Yeat is clearly taking advantage of the shifting industry landscape. The bigger picture here is a perfect storm. Veterans are dropping their final obligations to gain independence, while the rookies are releasing career-defining projects to claim the throne. This year isn't just a great year for music, it's a generational shift, a complete reordering of power in hip-hop. The legends are stepping back, the rookies are stepping up, and the industry itself is being rewritten in real time.